ladies and gentlemen, we've hit the bottom of the hour, plus 1 minute. My name is Fred Holmes. I'm an independent distributor with Siege International. I hold the rank of triple diamond in our company compensation plan, and it's my privilege to welcome you this evening to Millionaires in Training. And I have to tell you, the title of the call is kind of intriguing, Millionaires in Training. It's my privilege to be on the call this evening. Typically, our leadership call on Monday evenings is hosted by David Moses. David is our top income earner, our master distributor, and at this exact moment, I believe he is on the beach enjoying some time with his family, and he asked me if I would fill in for him this evening, and certainly it's a bit of a humbling request, but I will certainly do my best. Many of you have been invited as guests this evening, and I certainly want to welcome each of you as well. Just to kind of, preface our call, tonight is relatively unique in our conference call schedule. This is where we take time to develop the leadership of our distribution organization. We talk not so much specifically about Siege International or our products or how to build a Siege business. We have many opportunities for those kinds of exposures throughout the week. Here we talk more in terms of the skill sets, the mindset, the kinds of things that create leadership within our organizations. I think that one of the things that's become very apparent over the years that I've been involved in the profession of network marketing is that the higher levels of success that are obtained through our profession don't come just because of activities, but rather the development of oneself. I've shared this kind of concept in a different way. There's three basic levels of growth and three basic levels, if you will, of income in our industry. You can develop some very good supplemental income through sharing our products, developing a retail customer base. Let's call that, $100 or $300 a week. And for many people in the Zija community, that's what the Zija business is. It's an opportunity to create some supplemental income without disturbing your lifestyle and provide, a higher level of prosperity. However, to go transition from supplemental income to what I call replacement levels of income, let's say going from, $1 or $2 or $300 a week to $1 or $2 or $3,000 a week. That's not going to come through the sales of our product. It's going to come through the development of distribution organizations, creating leverage in your day-to-day activities, developing other distributors. And then for many, this can become what I call the third stage, life-changing income. Let's call that $1 or $2 or $3,000 a day. And I know for many people it's a hard thing to conceptualize, but many people within Siege International are already doing that. And to move into that third category requires development of leadership within your distribution team members. And something, and I'm going to share a lot over the next several minutes of things that I've learned from a gentleman by the name of Jim Rohn. Many people are familiar with him. I had the good fortune many years ago, at the early days of my network marketing career, to actually spend time with Jim. And one of the things that I keep going back to is things that he shared with me, and one of the concepts was it's not possible to give away something that you don't have. You can't give something you don't have, and you can't teach something you don't know. And so development of leadership within oneself is critical to being able to develop leadership within others. And so this evening, while we're not going to necessarily speak directly to the Zija products or the income opportunity, we're going to be speaking to specific things for the development of the individual, and then simply using the vehicle of Zija International to obtain our goals, our aspirations, and what have you. Now, kind of appropriate this evening, because this is the last Millionaires in Training call for 2013, what I wanted to talk about is 2014 and what that's going to become for each one of you. And because this is a leadership call, the first comment I want to make is something that's a given for all of the leaders in Zege International. I'm certainly only one of many, many people that have developed large, successful organizations, have already experienced, very high level of prosperity. But one thing I can guarantee you is happening at this exact moment with all of the leaders in our company is they are setting goals for 2014. And so I don't want to make this more so much a goal-setting seminar, but rather to understand the concepts of successful goal setting and why you would want to do that. And I encourage you to grab a pen and paper, because some of these things will be very important to you in your process. I was very fortunate many years ago, back in the mid-'80s. I was a much younger man, of course. I was a cross-country truck driver at the time, and found myself in a situation as my older boy was hitting school age that I needed to provide two things for my small family that wasn't available to me as a truck driver. I needed to develop much higher levels of income, of prosperity, to meet the needs of my son, and also I needed much higher levels of time freedom, to be free to spend time with him. And I think that those, generically are things that everybody wants, as they move on in life and have children and what have you. And many of the things that I'm going to share with you over the next several minutes were taught to me back then, and they've been extremely powerful in helping me obtain the goals and the lifestyle that I desired. And so let's talk a little bit about setting goals. And while we'll specifically talk more about business goals, I think this is the time to carve out a little time, separate yourself from the family and distractions of the television and the games and the celebrations, and grab a pen and paper and go through this process. Start out by identifying the areas of your life to set goals in. Certainly business or professional would be one. Personal, your social, physical, family, spiritual. All of these are areas of your life that if you want to truly create success is not just money. As a matter of fact, Jim Rohn probably shared it best when he said, the very best part of becoming a millionaire is not the money. The very best part is becoming the person you need to be worth the million. That's the greatest part of setting goals. And so here are some of the characteristics and the reasons for setting goals. Number one, and we've all heard this, folks, and I can't tell you how much it disturbs me when people know this simple little fact, but they don't do it. And if you knew that if you did just one thing to make all the difference in the world, wouldn't you do it? And the first thing is to set your goals in writing. I think the reason people fail that simple little preliminary step to have written goals, ink on paper, is because somehow in their mind they're setting themselves up for failure. And the problem is that's the concepts that the 95% work with. The 5%, the top income earners, the people with the highest levels of satisfaction in their life, whether it be from, personal or social goals or physical goals or family or spiritual, and certainly, business and financial, they work off of a different principle. The purpose of setting goals is to obtain them, whereas most people fail to write them down because they're fearful of not obtaining them. And all I can share with you is that the top 5% in all of these areas have written goals. And so I'm strongly encouraging, grab pen and paper and set your goals down. The reason we set goals is it creates focus. You cannot get there from here if you don't know where you start and you don't know where there is. That was, made a lot of sense to me as a truck driver. I could not deliver, the goods that I had in my trailer if I didn't know where they went. That's the purpose of setting goals. It creates focus. It gives you the ability to identify the specific actions that you need to do. Unless you know what the destination is, you cannot plan your route. Setting written goals gives you that ability. So you can then work backwards from the goal. Identify the specific activities or actions that will be necessary. Setting good goals creates a long-term vision. That's extremely important to have a long-term vision, because long-term vision helps you overcome the day-to-day challenges, the day-to-day obstacles. It's a guarantee. No matter what, between here and where your goals are, you're going to have challenges. And they may seem like significant challenges on a day-to-day basis. The purpose of written goals is to allow you to continue to stay focused on the long term, which will make it easier to overcome the short-term challenges, obstacles that you're going to encounter. It's important to be able to overcome those short-term obstacles. Every single success story that you will hear in ZG International, every single story, that individual had challenges and obstacles they had to overcome. Don't shy away from them. I mean, that is part of the process. It's just like, a few years ago I made a decision to get into better health and join a gym. And, actually, I joined a private trainer, just happened to have his own gym. And the fact of the matter is I had sore muscles in the beginning. And as I continue to increase my goals, there's, soreness. But it becomes less and less, and it is part of the process of achieving results. So let's talk about 4 specific steps, if you will, to successful goal setting. And I want to put this in the context of where will you be 12 months from now. One thing I can guarantee each and every one of you on the phone, and while there were many, many people who I know and developed relationships with over the last couple of years in ZG International, heard many of those folks, many of our leaders on the call this evening, even for those of you that I have not had the chance to meet. People that, we've not had the chance to get to know each other. There's one thing I can guarantee you absolutely. 12 months from now, the last day of 2014 will be 12 months from now. Now, that may sound silly, but I want to say it again. 12 months from now will be 12 months from now, no matter what. I mean, barring some, tragedy or what have you, we're all going to be here 12 months from now, no matter what we do. What's exciting is that we can choose where we will be 12 months from now by following a simple system. And all of my life, that's all I wanted to know is how to do it, because I was willing to do the work. I was willing to learn the skill sets and go through the personal development, and I had clearly in my mind what I desired, that burning desire to succeed. And these elements I'm going to talk about all revolve around those characteristics: willingness to work, willingness to learn, and a burning desire to succeed. So first thing I want to talk about, and it's kind of the starting point, is evaluation. Evaluating where you are. You have to know where you are as a baseline to determine, your starting point. It's the 2 steps in the process of routing your journey. You got to know where you're starting from, and then you got to know where you're going. So the first step is evaluation. Take a look at your life, and I suggest you do it in all the areas we've mentioned. Your business and professional life. Take a look at your physical, your health. How about your personal life, social life? How about your family, your spiritual life? Evaluate where you are now. And it's not a negative. It's a way to show, areas that you've built over the last year, perhaps. And it's a recognition of areas that you desire more in. The important thing is don't spend a lot of time there, because you don't move to the future by spending time in the past, but it's important to start there. And one of the things I can almost hear Jim Rohn saying it this way, do an effective evaluation. How is your physical health? How is the state of your finances? For those of you that maybe haven't joined ZG yet, for those of you that are building a ZG business, what is the state of your current business development? What is the state of your social and family characteristics? As Jim would say, is that okay? Is that okay with you? If you're at a physical level that you desire, then that's great. You've already accomplished that. If your business or financial goals are where you want them to be, that's great. Is it okay? Because if it is not okay, those are the areas that you'll wish to focus on, setting goals, developing an action plan, then committing to correct activities over the next 12 months. So the next step, number 2, what are your dreams and goals? Take some time, and here's the fun part. Go ahead and dream a little bit. What would it be like if I had, X level of income? What more good could I do? What more fun could I have? Nothing wrong with having fun. Trust me, I'm a firm believer in having fun. What would you do? What would your lifestyle be like? What would your physical condition? How about your financial prosperity? How about your, philanthropic efforts? What kinds of things, if you could have your dreams, what would they be? This is a very, very important part of goal setting. It's not your goals. Goals have to be specific. But for me, and then I'm going to go back to a number of years ago, the kinds of things that motivated me, thinking about having financial resources that were not just sufficient, but abundant. Not only being able to meet the needs of my child, but my friends and my family members. How many of you would want to help a friend or family member in need if you could? How many desire to help but don't have the resources? I'd love to help out my sister. I'd love to help out my grandchild. I'd love to help out my daughter-in-law. But I can barely make ends meet myself. So you start dreaming about how it would be if you could have. These aren't your goals, but they are dreams, and the kinds of things that you would like to do. Accomplishing your goals is what then allows you to be able to pursue your dreams. Now, number 3 is much more focused on specific goal setting. And Jim Rohn shared a number of years ago this concept of SMART goals, SMART. And it's probably the closest I'm going to get to goal setting seminar this evening, because I'm much more interested in sharing the concepts than necessarily the techniques. The concept of SMART stands for specific, measurable, obtainable, realistic, and time. SMRT. So let's start with the S. Specific goals. Be specific, and don't hesitate to be specific. Some people fail to write down concrete numbers out of the fear that they wouldn't accomplish them. Don't worry about that. You can always readjust the numbers. Just because it's a goal doesn't mean that you succeed or fail by attaining it. How about this one? If I set a goal to make, $50,000 a year of residual income from my part-time business, what if I get there, by September? What a great thing. What a great failure. You've shot beyond your original goal. You can reset that goal. You can increase it. I'll solve the problem in just a moment about setting the goal too high. Don't worry about setting the goal too high. Make it a specific goal. Identify, and here I'm talking specific about the financial issues in his age of business. Identify a specific dollar amount of income that you would like to achieve by the end of 2014. Be specific. Number 2, measurable. It has to be measurable. And see, the exciting thing about starting with a specific goal is it can be measurable. You can work the numbers backwards. There's no magic to this age of business. If you set a goal, I want to be making $1,000 a month in residual income, whether I work or not, by the end of 2014. I want to make $1,000, a week. I want to make $10,000 a month. Whatever the specific goal is, it is easy to measure it with these because you can work the numbers backwards and identify exactly how many customers and exactly how many distributors and what rank level they need to be at. How many people do you need to help to achieve the level of success that you desire? Goals first need to be specific. Then they need to be measurable. Now here's the important part. They have to be attainable. They have to be attainable and realistic. That's the A and the R in SMART. Attainable. Now, in other areas beyond just financial, if you're physically unable to walk, then it's probably not an attainable goal to do a marathon. If you have that handicap, they have to be attainable. They have to be realistic. Now, what is attainable? I always say, if one person has done it, another can. Probably the best way to set financial goals, this has always been my suggestion, if you're looking to create a full-time income in your Zija business, why not start with a level of income that you already know is realistic? What's the highest level of income you're accustomed to in your job, your profession, your trade, your occupation? If you're accustomed to making $50,000 a year, then it is both realistic and obtainable to make that as your initial goal in Zija. Whereas if somebody is accustomed to making $30,000 a year, you fall into that median income of the average individual in America, and your goal is to make $1 million your first year in Zija International. The fact of the matter is that is neither realistic. I'm not saying it isn't obtainable. I'm saying that it is probably not obtainable because it isn't something that's within your realm of reality. They must be obtainable, the goals, and realistic. Conversely, somebody who's accustomed to a six-figure income, I believe, because I've seen it happen with many others that have been able to achieve a six-figure income within their first 12 months in Zija, for somebody that's already accustomed to that level of income, the greatest advantage they have is the belief system. They already know they have the capacity to earn that level of income. This is just a different vehicle. And that's what makes that goal realistic and obtainable. And then finally, the final component of SMART is time. Set specific time frames. I love Jim Rohn's discussion on this. You have to have time frames. You have to have measurable results. The way he shared it is, is it okay to spend, 20 years in the third grade? Well, the answer, of course, is no. That's why they make the desk so small, so that, you can't stay there forever. Set a time frame. And once you've set that time frame, then you can do the incremental goals between now and then. And like I shared with you, you need to speak with the person, one of your upline leaders if you're just getting started with us. Because they will help you, map out your day-to-day activities. If you want to be at the diamond rank in our company's compensation plan, and that is very much a six-figure income. Is it obtainable in 12 months? Certainly it's obtainable. Because we've seen a number of people do it. Is it realistic for somebody who is new to the industry, who's never been involved in our industry? That's also true, because we have had people with zero background in the profession of network marketing attain the diamond level within their first 12 months. A lot of this is going to have to do with, one, time. How much time are you willing to commit? If you want to make a six-figure income with Zija and you want to put in 1 hour a week to get there, that's 52 hours over the next 12 months to obtain a six-figure income. I got to tell you, it's probably not going to happen. We can reduce the level of goal that you have or increase the level of time commitment to become more realistic. The fact of the matter is that many people have done it. And of course, it's going to be highly dependent upon what you bring to the table. And this is one of those areas of introspection that you need to be looking at is, do you have the characteristics of success? In the real world, the characteristics of success are things that are in many cases out of people's control. Highly dependent upon, your sex, your race, your age, your educational background, your family background. Those are the characteristics that can predict success. In our profession, none of those characteristics make any difference. We have, men and women at the top levels of income in our company. We have young and old. We have, white and black and green and polka dot. We have people from, prestigious family backgrounds and people from, blue-collar backgrounds. None of those characteristics are indicative of success in our business. What is indicative of success in our business is the three characteristics I shared a moment ago. Willingness to work, willingness to learn, and a burning desire to succeed. And that's the only requirements to be successful. So once you've had a chance to take some time, reflect on where you are today in the different areas of your life, business, professional, physical, personal, social, family, spiritual. Identify where you are now, and then do a little bit of dreaming. What would it be like if you could, a year from now, change those things? What would it be like? That's the why you do this. And once you've done that, identify what the meaning is to you. It can't be about the money. I guarantee you it can't be about the money. What you need to focus on is what will the money allow you to be? Not just to do, what will it allow you to be? Then use that third concept that we talked about, the SMART goals. Be specific. They need to be measurable. They need to be obtainable, within a time frame, be realistic, and establish time frames. And this will be very, very important as you come back down into the daily method of operation. What are your activities today, this week, this month, this quarter? Because that's how you obtain the results you're looking for this upcoming year. And then finally, accountability. That's the fourth ingredient. For me personally, I've never been a great, a particularly competitive fella. I've never, that was never my deal. But I was, extremely competitive against myself. I always held myself accountable for my goals. And I didn't even realize this as a truck driver, but that's what I was doing. I would identify my starting point. That's the final bit of the trailer that got loaded. I would identify my goal, Lincoln, Nebraska by 5 o'clock in the evening on Friday. And then what I did is I broke it down into short, measurable, attainable goals. How far was I going to get the first day? And so on. And then I held myself accountable to those goals. Stay in the driver's seat long enough to meet to hit the next mark that I needed to be at in a correct time so I could accomplish my end goal, having, the entire trailer full of strawberries in Lincoln, Nebraska by 5 o'clock Friday evening. Accountability for somebody like me is easy because I hold myself accountable. But I'm going to strongly suggest that once you've gone through this process, and you don't have to spend days doing this, if you were to spend 30 minutes of quiet time going through this little exercise, you would be immensely farther on beyond what the average person ever does. And share those goals. Share them with your upline. Share them with your spouse. Share them with a trusted friend. Somebody who's going to, at that level of accountability, somebody who's going to simply be asking you, how are you doing? Keeping you accountable for committing to the activities. And folks, this little bit of information, this isn't stuff that I made up. This is things that I've learned over the years because one of the things that I learned very early on in the development of my career in this profession, and it had everything to do with meat growing. I've said this to other people in the past. 20% of success in our business is the activities that we do, the systems and specific skill sets we develop in creating our siege of business. 80% of success is the development of us. You can have more because you can become more. One of the best things I ever heard Jim Rohn say, and it made a lot of sense to me because I desired to have much more than what I started with many years ago when I made that decision to leave trucking. But Jim Rohn said is you can have more because you can become more. And if your focus over the next 12 months is in developing yourself and then developing others, the income that you desire is a natural and automatic byproduct of developing yourself and developing others. So with that, folks, we've come to the amount of time that I'm allotted for this evening. I certainly hope that this information I've shared with you you found some benefit to it. We'll do just a little bit of program notes. We will, because of the holiday schedule, we will not have our business presentation call on Tuesday evening. We will not have our normal product focus call on Wednesday. However, we're going to start out January 2, 2004, right on the daily method of operation and schedule. Thursday evening, we will have a business presentation on the ZG Income Opportunity. It'll be on this same conference call number. At the same time, 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern Time. Great opportunity to expose people to your new ZG business right at the beginning of the year. We'll have one of our company's top incomers hosting that call. Then on Saturday morning, we will start the first week of the year with our Fast Start training. I believe I will be doing the Fast Start training on Saturday, so I encourage you to join me. I'll be going specifically step by step how to develop a ZG business from day one, how to get into profitability in a reasonable amount of time, and then how to go on and develop your own story and lead others. So with that, folks, I want to wish you all a wonderful holiday, Happy New Year. Keep it safe and sane. Remember to drink ZG, because that drink will not get you pulled over. And with that, thank you for all the leaders who joined us in the call this evening. I'm going to open up the lines and close out the call. Wishing you all a Happy New Year. Thank you for joining us. The lines are open. Thanks, Fred.
Canyon, California. Great call. Thank you. California. Thanks, Fred. Great call. Thanks, Fred. Great call.